The simp spectrum. Today I'll be talking about the spectrum of simping. Simping is a mating strategy first invented by primates before we were even humans. In fact, studies suggest that the first simp to ever exist was Diddy Kong. Diddy Kong was sick of Dixie Kong, always wanting to get with Donkey Kong because he was more masculine and biologically superior in every way. So Diddy Kong started giving her bananas in exchange for her playing with his banana. After she first touched his banana, he made it his life's quest to get more bananas, just to give to her. This is why most men in today's society blindly chase status symbols like luxury cars and status flexing lifestyles on social media, over focusing on improving actual wealth and spiritual, physical, and mental health, or actual self-development. Not all simps are losers or bad. Not all simps are low-value incels or betas or ugly losers. Some of them can also be chads. Basically, every man on earth is a simp to one degree or another, except for maybe serial killers, which is why a lot of women are drawn to them, as they probably got screwed over by a simp who used the lover boy method and associate all kindness with fake empathy thereafter. But this ranges from men who get pride from, helping their women, pride and satisfaction from meeting the reasonable requests and needs of loyal women who treat them well in return, to outright degenerate cuckolds who actually enjoy being used and degraded and cheated on as they chase the unreasonable gold diggers' never-ending demands. Unlike a healthy, self-respecting man that would not tolerate this, the low-value simps, who are usually biologically defective and ugly, enjoy this dynamic, as this is what makes them feel most secure and gives them their identity. They are putting up with levels of abuse that attractive masculine men simply wouldn't tolerate, and this is what they rely on to gain any edge that they can get in the dating market. So we often talk online about how women only go for about 1% of men. This 1% of men is mostly 7-foot gigachads, but the 10% behind those men is mostly simps, to one degree or another, ranging from chad light simps, pretty boy simps, but also including the low-value simps that would generally be considered an incel based on looks alone. Some men, like Will Smith, may also meet many of these categories, as Will Smith is a wealthy chad light simp, but also a low-value simp, as he is a cuckold that gets pride from public humiliation and his bald wife's infidelity. While women will cheat on simps to get with gigachad, they'll also cheat on gigachad to get with a simp, because a simp doesn't hold them accountable and will pay their way to an easy life while the woman can still work and keep all of the money for herself with her bills paid. An increasingly higher number of mega simps or cucks do not even care if they are cheated on. In fact, many of them like it because they revel in their own degradation. It makes them feel morally superior in the constraints of the front-bottom supremacy narrative, where any healthy boundary set by men is considered oppression. With all of today's front-bottom supremacy legislation, it is now easier for young front-bottom owners to get money without relying on a simp. So many front-bottom owners will go into debt to make it look like they are actually more wealthy than they are, in a misguided attempt to simp for the chads that they are chasing, assuming chad is looking for the same things that they are in a partner. In their prime fertility years, they'll go into debt to go on frequent holidays to try and find foreign chads, like Enrique, Miguel, and Tyrone Thunderstroke. They'll go into debt to get better clothes to attract chads, but they won't invest in scary new internet money because they prefer to follow the herd and have a misguided perception of risk management. Meaning that when they are middle-aged, they will likely have minimal assets, a lot of debt, and if their jobs relied on their beauty, such as customer service, modeling, and so on, their earnings potential will also be diminishing very rapidly. It's around this time in their lives that women who have been beating their bosoms about being strong and independent for multiple decades will begin to desperately seek out a simp husband, and also potentially a stepdad to Chad and Enrique and Miguel's bastard offspring. During this phase, such women will often stop having relationships with Chads who would not be willing to commit to that, and look for a simp, or preferably a mega simp cuck, who they can manipulate and abuse while using dating apps for the occasional sneak link with Chad. While marriage was once a tradition for young families to form a foundation, it is now considered by a lot of front-bottom owners as a surplus to their pension. Nothing more than a financial decision to help alleviate the multiple decades worth of debt they build up during their Chad-chasing strong and independent phase. While most self-respecting men are repulsed by this reality, and many men will talk about how destructive this dynamic is in RP spaces online, there is actually a very significant cohort of men who like this dynamic. Low-value mega simp cuckolds, who would otherwise be involuntarily celibate, use this as an opportunity to compete in the dating market. With male testosterone levels on the decline and OnlyFans content saturation, this group of men is actually growing. You may wonder, how can a man be a man that wants to get married and also be in support of the front-bottom supremacy movement? That's hard to say. Well, the answer to that is simple. For every rule and regulation that comes out, stripping men of any natural authority that they have, for every law that comes out that makes marriage a bigger risk with less reward, and for every social expectation of narcissistic front-bottom owners making weddings more extravagant and expensive, the mega simps get excited. The more degrading, risky, superficial, and detached from the family foundation marriage becomes, the more advantageous this is for low-value simps, who'll gladly be thrown under the bus to satisfy their milady time and time again, repeating the same cycles, not because they haven't learned what's going on, but because they have based their entire male identity and value as a partner around their own eternal devaluation and disposability. So when you start to think, hey, a lot more men are talking about how messed up things are in dating, just remember, there is a growing cohort of men that enjoy how messed up things are and will fight with all of the might of their skinny, pale arms that they can muster to make things even worse, in order to gain any advantage they can get, so that they can potentially be the next emotional and financial punching bag of an emotionally jaded 5 out of 10 front-bottom owner that is looking for her retirement plan. So, don't let that be you.